Chrome thing.
This is live right now.
Alrighty. Well, welcome to another episode of the Operation Grow Show, Season 5, Episode 9, the Magma Seeds episode. Oh, hang on, let me just quickly get chat going. Not the time for all of this. Anyway, chat amongst yourselves.
Hope everyone's having a good weekend. Yeah, welcome everyone. Raptor Grow here. Just a quick intro since Pete's doing the IT work. Yeah, I had a pretty good week. I got lots of relaxing done. Just came back from my vacation like Monday morning, 12:04 in the morning. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Really enjoyed myself. The background actually you see here was from me in the redwood forest. This was actually right next to the ocean. The entire thing was all next to the ocean, which just boggles me. So much different than Southern California. You can literally go to the ocean to the forest in a matter of steps. That's what I really appreciated the most about the Pacific Northwest. But yeah, just everyone was super nice, very kind. Yeah, just a whole different vibe. It seems like not having to deal with traffic and all that BS really helps out a lot. But yeah, I'm back to hang out with all you here. Very excited. Quick update on the Scarpegonias. It's tomorrow will be the beginning of week 6, and they're doing great. I'm actually getting some very interesting smells coming off of the two of them. The shorter one smells more like a granny apple smith, like a sour apple, and a little bit of caramel at the end. Oh, I just can't wait. And then the other one's more like an apple cider, like a spiced apple. Kind of the much bigger one that's taking up 2/3 of the tent. It's huge. I thought it was a male when it was vegging out because it was so big. But yeah, it's taking up the majority of the tent, and I'm very interested to be working with those. My friend actually Shipwreck said, "Oh, you should get those two in a very interesting room together. You know, put the mood and see what comes out from there." So I might just. Well, so we'll see what how that goes. But yeah, enough of me. Moving on to the next. Welcome, Cascadian. Good to see you again.
Yeah.
Hey guys, happy Saturday. I'm glad to be here. Sun's shining, so you're lucky you got me inside, man. But life's good, man. Doing good over here. Glad to be here.
Good.
Glad to hear about Magma's story and see what the deal
Yeah.
Looking forward to this.
And JMF, how you doing, buddy? How things going?
Well, in the immortal words of Barry Manilow, looks like we're vaccinated. So,
You're all
it's a celebratory day. I got my second shot, so I'll be back at the food pantry. I'll be able to put some more hours in there helping people out. So, I'm pretty excited about it, y'all. You know, I got it yesterday, and to be honest, I'm kind of worried because I feel fantastic. I don't have any headache or no soreness, no nothing. So, yeah, I feel great. So I'm excited. I feel like a lucky individual to get to be here with y'all.
When the superpower kicks in, let us know.
Oh, will do. I'll suddenly become much richer.
Shruvi, how you doing, buddy? Nice of you to join us.
Pretty good. Just dealing with family stuff, dealing with the garden.
Excellent. Good man. And Underground, good to have you back again, sir. How are things going there?
Going well, man. I'm doing well today over here rolling me a J. Happy to be with y'all.
A J of what, may I ask?
This is a mix of the Maui Wedding Crasher Cross that I did and some Purple Valley OG.
Nice. Sounds good. And I was just about to do the perfect waiter timing thing as he takes a hit from the pipe. And our guest on the show today is Magma Seeds. Magma, welcome to the show. How are you doing, sir? How are you keeping?
Thank you. I'm doing good. You hear me?
Excellent. Yep. We can hear you fine. Looking very chilled there. It's the glasses. It's definitely the glasses.
I don't know. I dig the hat, man. I'm here for the hat.
So yeah, how about give us a little introduction on yourself? You know, who is Magma Seeds? What got you into what got you into cannabis, into this, into specifically on the plant breeding? Well, let's start with just what got you into cannabis.
So
We all have our first
about
smoking
yourself.
story. That's a good one. First smoking story.
I'm, I guess I'm a Scandinavian seed breeder living in Tenerife. I think my first experience with smoking, I guess when I was 13, 14, with a friend of mine that had some hash. And I think it was like summer holiday and not much to do. So seemed like the right move. And I don't think it was like that effective the first time. And then I smoked like on the national holiday, and I got like completely destroyed. And and I guess I just fell into the honey pot.
Yes. That very first time of getting like, super baked and lying on your back on the lawn, going, "I got to hold on because I could fall off." You know?
So
Yeah, I think
this
we
is why
walked
people
into
do
like
this.
I think we walked into a supermarket and we were all so stoned. We were like, the dude's not paying attention, so we just walked out of there with like hands full of candy and soda. Yeah, so it was a little bit absurd. And it was like crowded everywhere, so we could just walk off and yeah.
And being very
Great
stoned at
times.
the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very stoned. And large crowds everywhere, so that was nice.
So yeah, you mentioned that you're now living in Tenerife. Obviously, I'm guessing a slightly warmer climate there. But when you started, without incriminating yourself at all, you know, how long have you been growing for, and when did you start? And sort of what got you started in growing cannabis? And
I guess I was like living in Virginia when I was my second year of high school. And when I was there, it was like a lot of weed. And in Norway, I just smoked hash. And the way like my day was laid out, it was just like a lot of weed breaks throughout the day when I was there. And when I came back to Norway after that, I was like looking for weed, and it was really hard to find. So me and like a friend, we grew some seeds in his apartment with like one of those lamps, you know, you have at the work site, like a really, really bad lamp for growing weed.
How was the first harvest?
No, it wasn't no harvest. It didn't make it. It didn't make it. No. So and then when I finished high school, I ventured around the city to try to find some weed, and then I was like looking in all the grow stores and trying to talk with anyone, and it was like a few guys that had some. So I guess that got me like hooked. And I was gonna go to like this film school, and I brought like all this weed and hash with me there. So I got expelled after a month. Yeah, and then I was selling drugs in that town because I decided I was like gonna do revenge for them kicking me out. I was gonna flood their whole market with the cheap hash. So that, and then I decided like, no, I don't want to live in this part of the country. So I moved back to the city, and then I started like growing in like a small Dutch pot system. I'm trying to get set up.
And how was that? I mean, like in terms of, you talk about grow shops and that, what was the legality scenario that
Yeah, I think there was like 2 grow stores, and they sold, I think, like Canna, the AB was
Yeah.
quite basic, and then I met like one guy in there who was like telling me about soil mixes. So I was like going through anything I could find. I was on overgrow for the like short period of the end of it, and then I jumped over to Icy Mag and just like looking at anything I could find, really, to try to learn more, and going through like all the books and stuff. So because
And
the
so,
grocery
like,
stores had like very lacking information, you could go in there, but it was like no answers.
yeah, or know the answers but won't tell you.
Yeah, or you'll get like this really cool system, and then you'll get like all this stuff and a bunch of more stuff, and then some little bit more stuff, and then you can go, and you don't need all. I didn't feel like I needed all that, so
All the
I was
extras, yeah.
trying to figure out like my own way and all that, and then I was doing work at normal, like the legalization movement, I guess. And I had like a guy there that I guess was like my teacher when I did my first proper like growing cocoa slabs, like when I had my first little bit bigger apartment.
And can you remember what it was what was the first plant that you sort of grew out and were like, okay, now I'm sort of starting to get a hang of it now?
Yeah, no, it was like a Jack Herrera clone that was really famous in Oslo.
And so you've obviously, I mean, it's clearly progressed in terms of the style of growing. You sort of about the Dutch buckets to start with.
Yeah, I did like.
Yeah, like how's that progressed over time? I mean, and to how are you, how are you growing today?
Like I guess I did Dutch pots, and then I did like Dutch pot. I had like a Dutch pot and a cocoa system, and then I did some deep water culture, and I really liked that. And then I had like a few partners that I was working with. So most of the time I would do like just cocoa on drip. And then I did some big soil rooms. I was like moving up and renting more and more apartments, and maybe 4 lights and then 6 lights and then 2 rooms with 6 lights, trying to max the amp and the power
Without
so
burning the wires.
Yeah, like when you do like flip, so you had like 12 or 11 and a half hour or 11 hours and 50 minutes, and then you have like 10-minute rest, and then the other room pop on, to try to do like max power all day. And then I got popped in my soil grow when I think I had like 12 12 lamps in one room and 6 in another. So I lost a lot of genetics then. And then I was growing like with advanced nutrients actually. I was following a recipe that Soma was using at the moment, doing like Soma style.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because I was working in a grocery store, so I was talking with the guy that was like the rep for advanced nutrients in Europe. Had like this recipe with advanced nutrients that I was running. This is like I think 2007. And then I got popped, and I had to do like maybe half a year or something that I couldn't grow to try to get set back up. And then I did like various sites, and I did a little bit more deep water culture.
And what would be your? And are you now you're growing outdoors at the moment, or do you still grow
Yeah, no,
indoors?
I did like deep water culture for a while, but it was always like problems because I went to jail for the thing, and then I had this place running, and the people that was gonna help me with it didn't really do well with the deep water culture, so we switched everything over to soil again. And I've been running soil pretty much ever since then. And I was really interested in permaculture and biodynamic farming and all that stuff. And when I got like a farm on the countryside, and the grocery stores was really problematic, so you couldn't get anything. So we had to drive to like my neighbor country and buy all the soil and nutrients, and then we just switched to organic because it was like the obvious choice.
I mean, you mentioned something that, like, it does sound like you're, I know, correct me if I'm wrong, but in terms of like the indoor growing, the deep water culture is where you lean towards. It seems to be your thing. But as you mentioned, trying to get, it's one of those. It's sort of that's where you're growing on a knife's edge, and you've got to know what you're doing to play.
Yeah,
it's not a beginner's setup, that one.
It's like when everything's working fine and you have like biofilters and everything working, it's a really neat system, and it's really quick and effective. Like the current culture is the one I always built after. And that's a really good setup. And I guess it depends what you're doing. Like now, I wouldn't recommend anyone to do hydro unless that's like what they're set on doing indoor. And I prefer organic much more. And I prefer, like, here on where I'm at now, I just use local soil, and I mulch. And like when I start, I found that I have to maybe take half a meter of soil and just like kind of turn it, and then I do like almost like a hugel culture, but a hugel pit.
Okay.
Instead, so I make sure it's like a little bit more in the ground than on top of it, and I use a lot of what's like locally available, and just try to add biomass and mulch and like a little bit diversity with other plants and flowers and stuff.
Yeah.
And try to treat it more like a farm than specialized.
So then again, obviously, at some point during your growing career, Nate, you decided to make the switch from just growing plants to breeding plants, getting in, producing your own cultivars, etc. Well, what was it that made you decide to do that? What drew you towards that getting into plant breeding, in particular with cannabis? Was there any, particular thing that happened?
Yeah, I've been like I never really was into growing just like one strain, just because I would get really tired of it, and I always wanted to look for like new stuff, and I was trying to get like genetics that was more rare where I was at,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to buy like so much seeds, and depending on what you got, you could be very disappointed or a little disappointed, and sometimes you're really happy. And I guess when I went through like so many packs, I decided that some of this stuff I want to continue to work with. So if I find like something that I really like, I would either go back to that line to try to get more of it, obviously, so I don't lose it, so I can have it available. And then it's not like always that what you're smoking is like just what you were looking for. Maybe it's not strong enough, or maybe it smokes good, but it's not good enough compared to that other strain you smoked,
Mm.
And then I just wanted to do like increase what I like in the stuff I like. Say it like very simple.
So what are some of the traits that you've seen in the different lines that you've tried to hold on to? Are there particular traits that you've been like, oh, I got to hold on to like this creaminess in this particular line, or this growth in this other line? Or have you identified traits that you like, or is it just overall profiles that you fall in love with?
I guess I really like I don't know if it's gassy or fuely strains, or like strains that when you smoke them they burn kind of slow. If it burns like really fast and it's like light taste, and you can smoke like 5 joints and don't feel anything, that's not really what I'm looking for. So like it can have like any appearance, I guess, or smell, if it packs like the right punch. uh, like I want the joint to be like, if I smoke it when I'm testing it, I want it to have a really good flavor that I like, that I would prefer over many of the other types that I have. So it's like, okay, that's the one I'm going to smoke first, and that jar is gone like before everything else. That's one aspect of it. And then like if when I smoke it, it has to give like a strong feeling, and it should take like a while to finish the joint. It should be like maybe a little bit hashy taste also. So if you pass it to someone, they're like, oh, you have hash in this. I guess that's like stuff like that.
Cool.
And I like stuff that don't too much of a pain to trim. But if it's like fantastic, it can always be worked out. But it depends how the cross goes, I guess, if I decide to work with it or not, or if I put it on the side, and maybe I'll work with it, but it's gonna be down the line, because I'm gonna have to go through a lot more to find what I'm looking for. Like if the structure is really shitty and everything else is on point, I obviously have to do a lot more work with it. So maybe then I'll just go with the line that I like more, even though I have other lines that I would prefer to work with also. It's the problem with space, if I could
Mm-hmm.
work with everything that I wanted to, changed everything completely. So I try to keep on to like what I really like and try to get it into at least F2 form, or I hit it with something else that I really like, so I have something of it that I can work with in the future, and then I can like number the different phenos, and I have that to continue, you know, if it's that interesting. But it's like seeing big facilities in the States and Canada, you know, it's like, or other places, it's
Yeah.
amazing opportunities to really do like pheno hunting. So I tried to do like I was watching Bingus do like a seed run with lots of seeds. So I'm trying to do like more seeds now of each strain, and maybe select more early which ones I think are the outliers. So I get to see more of the genetic expression, um, even though I might not flower all of it, you know.
And speaking of outliers, you did send through some photos of some rather unique, let's say, leaf morphology.
Yeah.
Which these are pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's it's from, I have a lemon apricot from Compound. Or I have some phenos of it, and like different plants have like different mutant leaves.
This one made me think of an earwig with the.
Yeah, I think there's 3 of them, 3 plants that are like that. And it's not
very,
like
very different.
It's not a uniform trait throughout the plant. It's just like here and there. So, but it's not something I don't see it all the time.
It's almost like a webbing, like the.
Yeah, it's like it has a section in the middle with extra leaf.
Well, it's like the cells that were supposed to divide to make the leaflets didn't divide.
Yeah, no, something
Like
happened.
same thing, like the same thing that happens when you form your fingers. Your fingers all form, and then it actually undoes the skin and stuff between your fingers to make your fingers separate. There might be, when the leaf is really small and all curled up in the apical meristem, it might do something similar. I'm not sure. I got to learn more about.
Yeah, no, it's more like in that cultivar, it seems to be like some strange stuff going on with several phenos. So I guess I'll see when I take them into clones, and
It's really interesting.
I get to run them, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna F2 it. I might just use a mother.
And then this is your. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm showing the video that you sent of your garden.
Yeah,
there.
this is some Malawi crosses with Zambian lemon singer that are just being tested.
How do you find growing Malawi? Is it Malawi Gold that you're growing? How do you find? Because actually, you've probably got close to the right climate there. In terms of its like natural habitat, its original climate, indigenous climate. You're not going to be too far off. How do you find it performs?
Really nice. Yeah, it works well here.
Do you have access to cannabinoid testing?
I do. If I send it to Kanna, I think I can get like kind of an analytic result.
And oh yeah, another question out of chat from GR420 was they want to know where they can get your hat, one of the hats.
The TH seeds, I think, hemp hoodlum.
Yeah, because that one with the funny leaf, those ones, I would like to know what they have in them. Like, you might have something, going on genetically with them that you might be able to work with because they're
Mm.
throwing that weird kind of trait like that. It might be something, you might like in there. Like they could
Yeah,
be high in
I'm
THCV or some weird, something weird and, or anything.
Like freak show, because that's
Yeah.
exactly what how and then you take two of those plants that are expressing that particular mutation and cross them and see if you can, like you're saying, the mutation appears on a sporadically throughout the plant until you can sort of get
Yeah.
at the point where the mutation is appearing consistently throughout the plant. Just as a
Yeah, and it has like the leaf thing, and then it has also where the leaf starts, it splits and goes into two leaves on some of them.
And have you grown any of them out all the way through to? I mean, is that the first time you're seeing it on the
Yeah,
first
no, that's
grow,
the
or
first time. That's
okay,
like
so you haven't grown them all the way out yet.
No, that's new stuff for this year.
So that'll be interesting then. I mean, I would say the bit of me goes, take cuts.
Yeah, no, I'm going to take cuts.
Especially of the interesting looking ones, because you never know. You might have found the the golden ticket.
Yeah, they're in veg now, just waiting for the testers to be done.
And what's your season like? I mean, in terms of, because Tenerife is, which of the tropics is that in? Is it Cancer?
And you're in greenhouse? That was greenhouse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, what's the difference between, and when I say the difference, like your summer and winter, is there a significant difference in daylight hours, or is it relatively, doesn't really swing that much?
It's a little bit more light in the summer, but it's within reasonable hours for most strains. Some of the sativas don't really start flowering until like midsummer. But everything else starts almost all year.
Yeah.
Okay. Stony Creek wanted to know if that was this season or last season's plants.
No, that's this season. Yeah, they're just really small. It's
yeah, you get an early start because you're in the greenhouse, dude. Like, that's lovely. Like, I still got another 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, I started it a few weeks back. But I don't know if people could see it really on the video, but it's like really densely planted with many plants coming up in each spot. So I'm going to do like selection from each bunch to try to work through more phenols with what I have available.
That's quite a popular technique that I've definitely seen them using that. I mean, oddly enough, when Malawi is being grown, they'll find they'll just plant like 3-4 seeds together in each one, and then they come back through after they started growing, and out of each little clump, they thin them out and go, okay, we'll just, whatever is the strongest looking one, that's the one that stays. The rest get taken care of, so they don't have to.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. I'm trying to do like pest resistance testing and stress testing. So I do like a little bit live insects release for IPM, but I don't do much else.
Okay. Are you going to be Are you running companion plants like beneficials also in the greenhouse?
Yeah, but I'm going to increase it this year with like buckwheat and like plants that have like those small flowers like carrots and to try to attract more beneficial insects, but to
bring in more pollinators.
Yeah, it's like a semi-closed greenhouse. Yeah. So it's limited how much I can attract. So I added like ladybugs ladybugs last year, and I'm going to add a bunch more stuff this year just to
If
get
you
on
can
top
get wheel
of.
bugs or assassin bugs, those are great. And rove beetles. Rove beetles work wonders, like on all stages. And lace wings. Lace wings
Yeah.
work good in the greenhouse also. Like that's what
Yeah,
I
no.
run. Last year I learned a lot about which beneficials to use. So yeah, you're doing the
Yeah,
right thing.
just keep in
Yeah,
mind,
I think I can get
try
comfort
to do
here
your
too.
research too, Magma, as I'm sure you're aware. Like, just don't throw out use your money wisely. I'm sure you already understand. Like,
Yeah,
make
no, I
sure you
try to
know
do
your
like,
environment. But yeah, just throwing money at into beneficials. I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, it didn't work. Beneficials don't work." It's like, well, did you do the research? So yeah, no way am I saying you didn't, but people need to understand in general, like, you are in a specific area, so just you need to release specific things that are good for you, and everything Underground was saying
Right.
was just general. The rove
yeah,
beetles, like
no,
that should be generally there, like the green lace wings do well in so many environments. So I'm
Yeah.
glad
do.
he mentioned the general ones. That's an
Yeah, because you
awesome
can attract those
tips.
easy. Those are
Yeah,
attractable easy.
perfect. That's your
In most
base. Yeah,
environments.
those are your general
Yeah.
soldiers taking up the majority of your army. But yeah,
And then for
I
each
think that's awesome.
environment, like you can really get enhanced with it by what you plant around your greenhouse on the outs
Hmm.
and things like
That's a
that. Like
great
you
tip
can.
with the companion plants. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, it's another one
Yeah,
of those things also for outdoor growing, to be aware of what's growing around you.
Oh yeah,
Because you might be, have everything that you can do on your little plot, but what you don't realize is, in the fields and everything around you is all this other shit that like cut like almost a fire break of. I mean, I heard a story of a facility that was having this problem where they kept getting, I don't know, some kind of spider mite, for instance, just kept coming through, and they had everything under the sun going. And outside, they had this nice, tall, like grasses growing around the facility because it looked cool. But it was like that's where the problem is. You've got inside all nice and clean, your space is clean, but you've got it growing right up against the wall. That's the problem, and they just cut
yeah.
a fire break essentially around
That's
it.
a
And
great part of IPM. Like, you need to realize your environment, what's around you, and then implement proper, like, in that case, that would be uh just like a physical thing you can do. Cultural
Yeah. See, what we
practices.
did
There we
was
go.
we planted on the outskirts of our fields. We planted yarrow, comfrey, sage, a bunch of different herbs and beneficial plants. So that way we set up borders. Basically, they got to get through that, and then whatever else we have companion planted along with the beneficial within the gardens and the outside the greenhouses and within the greenhouse. So we set up like perimeter, basically like an army barrier, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
multiple barriers,
yeah,
multiple
yeah.
firewalls. So that's how it works. Don't just rely on one thing. Rely on multiple things. Do your research, and that actually brings me to. I just want one question out of Magma. I think been trying to rack my mind to what's the most important thing. How does practicing permaculture influence your not just your growing methods, but also your breeding methods and just your overall thoughts on breeding?
I guess it with the insects you were saying earlier, like I do insect identification, and I talk with the Coppert for that. If I need any advice on what to use, but like regarding permaculture, it's really about making a system that works long term, and like the more input you need to put in to get it to work, the less long term that solution really is. So when I look at that for breeding, I try to take in environmental factors, and I guess I want to breed outdoors in the sun, for climates that are similar to mine, but I'm not saying it doesn't work indoors, but I prefer to do my selection based on what works outdoor for me, because I want the plant to be able to. It depends on the selection too. With some plants, like pure head stash, maybe I'm going to be very willing to vegetate it to get it to the size where I can flower it and get what I want. But ideally, I want to work with sativas that I can find something that I can just put in the ground, and it works in this climate and becomes a decent size. Because there's so much stuff, if I put it in the ground here, it just goes to flower, and then you get like these really small plants with not really worth your time. And I guess that's like really important for me in my selection for the stuff that I really want to work outside, And then when I have those, I can start to take like all my favorites and flavors and all that stuff and try to work those traits together to get all of it to work better here. And I guess like it's also about how you source your inputs and how you set up the system. So like on my farm, I do like a lot of nitrogen fixing trees, and I try to have diversity so I can fix like problems with natural solutions rather than like just spraying my garden into obedience.
So you're letting your environment really help you along the breeding selection process. It's not just like, oh, I want this flavor, regardless of what other genetic backgrounds that might come with it. I'm gonna get that. No, you're saying, okay, I see that, and if it comes with a problem, it needs to be selected out.
Yeah, at least if I'm going to be able to work with it long term here, it has to be selected out, because if not, I'm just going to be running into problems over and over again with the same stuff. So it don't make sense. But it's just like any strain that I have, I guess I would want it to perform without mold and issues and anything. And some strains, that okay, this strain is going to work like really good if I put it in a controlled environment. And that can be like a fun niche thing, but at the same time it's not really viable in my eyes long term, because the market's about to move out, in my opinion. As soon as there's international trade, if that ever happens in our lifetime, that's going to be a big change for anyone in the game, because then the genetics are going to be like much more important, that they can handle certain problems. And like with the IPM too, it's a little bit the same thing, you want to be on top of your IPM game, because at the moment it's that's where we're at, in breeding. You can't just like with some crops, you can kind of let nature do its own thing. But if you want to keep all your flowers, you're gonna have to deal with your issues and identify your pests and find the right predator to get them under control. Maybe some that can attack it right away, and somebody that is gonna attack it in a week or two. So you get like stuff in different stages of life.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is knowing
ideally, you want
with the beneficials in that is, sorry, go.
Have strains that no.
No, I was gonna say that's the other thing about the beneficials in that is, if you release them too early, they don't have enough food source to maintain the population, and so they just die of starvation. And then whatever it is that they're trying to control then can swell in its numbers and overtake. And if you release it too late, the problem is too big, and you just don't have, unless you release huge numbers of these things. And as everybody
Yeah, they
knows,
all
it can
have
be quite
different behavior
expensive.
patterns.
Yeah. So it's
So
kind
if
of
you put them in
learning
like
that.
indoor growth,
Mm.
some of them too in the indoor environment will just like fly straight into the light.
Ladybird bugs in an indoor grow is always, it's not necessarily the best idea unless you want to be cleaning them out of fans and
I thought it was really cool that you're also working with Copert. I don't
Yeah, no,
COPPERT. Yeah,
that's the copper, yeah, with K, I think.
yeah, the
Yeah,
beneficial insectary. Hmm.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
and that you were saying like, yeah, you're working closely with them. You're making sure that they understand where you are and you understand what you're getting from them. Yeah, I really like your methodologies. I just wanted people to get a little glimpse into how permaculture can help direct breeding methods and how it
Yeah,
can benefit in all manners. But yeah, you're saying.
I think like really permaculture is like about letting the plants help out and what the plants bring, like a solution isn't always what you think it is. Like you might have this problem on your farm that you think is like the worst problem in the world, but maybe that's the solution, maybe that's what you need everywhere, so you can fix your problem.
Mhm.
So
What you
like,
think is a problem is the solution. Like you really want this whatever breed, whatever genetics, but it's just so weak that it will never stand up to, your someone the people that you're trying to help with seeds. You don't want to pass that down, so it's kind of just nature just saying like, hey, it's not sustainable. It can't be done, at least it might be able to be done in a controlled environment, but that's not nature. Nature is a whole different beast. So yeah, I can't wait to see your future work, and I'll be following along very closely. I haven't seen too many breeders. I have seen breeders have IPM in the back of their mind and everything like that, and working with nature and trying to work with pressures to select that weakness. But it's nice to hear it becoming more prevalent. So yeah, I'll definitely be supporting you in the future, and very much looking forward to your work.
Actually, Tyler, I missed a question was asked earlier. Is there a particular strain or cultivar that you wish you got the opportunity to work with, or that you would like to get hold of someday and play around with? I mean, is there anything to you personally that's like like
yeah,
the
I guess I had sour diesel IBL, uh, and I really liked that. It was like I I had it from seeds, so I can't say much other than that I got it from some res auction on IC Mag back in the days, or whatever the auction page was in those days. And that was like really strong when you smoked it. If I got the joint by accident, I would struggle a little bit in situations. like
do not operate heavy
if I go
machinery.
on the train normally. Yeah, no, I was like, let's say I go on the bus or the train, normally I'm not bothered by being stoned, and I felt like I was like 14 again, and you're like sitting there and everyone's putting their jacket over your head, just like hide you because, oh man, you look too bad. Nobody can see you. You look like a junkie, like just, oh man, I shut up, and really bad look. So I really enjoyed that one. And then I had the shishka berry too, shishka berry that I really like.
Sounds
And I
interesting.
lost both those in like my first encounter with the law.
Damn. And Top Floor Genetics asking chat, other than the Malawi, have you worked with any other, you're saying cool African genetics, but I mean, any other African genetics that you work with in particular on the island, or is it so far your
Yeah,
exposure
the
been?
Zambian I'm working with is, I think that's like African
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Think.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't make the Zambian. It's from a Spanish seed company.
Okay.
But I crossed that one with the Lemon Singer from Bodhi to like just get it to a manageable time to work with,
Mm-hmm.
because it was like a never-ending story. It just like continued to stretch and put out new flowers and stretch and put out new flowers. So yeah, I that's like the other African I'm working with at the moment. And I'm testing some Iranian seeds now, not
Mm-hmm.
African, but close, that I got from a lady from Iran. So popping a lot of those, but not having the best of luck. So I had some come up, but I think I popped like 1,000 seeds and I had like 12 maybe come up. So
Wow.
so hopefully it's not just all rural hemp.
With a 1.2% germination rate. Ouch.
Yeah.
I think it's even lower than that. 12 out of 1,000. It's 0.1.
Or I'm sorry, sorry. RSO coffee in the morning.
And have you tried? I mean, have you played around with autos, for example? You know, they're particularly popular in Europe for outdoor growing
Yeah,
because
I
of the
was
short season.
I was really into that when I was living in the north, and I did the Sweet 105 from Dr. Green Thumb seeds outside,
Mhm.
and that finished. And then I have some friends from Germany that I had like this medicine man cross. Can't remember the whole thing, but from some German guys on IC Mag that do a lot of outdoor. They finished fine also.
And you said you were from stayed in Virginia. What part of VA?
I was in Woodstock, in Shenandoah.
Nice. That's my hometown. That's why I was asking. I'm from Chesapeake.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was living in Tom's Brook, right outside Woodstock.
Sweet, sweet.
Yeah, that was a really nice place.
Nice. So, next question. You can choose truth or pipe hit. You know, it's like truth or dare. If there was one seed breeder out there that people should avoid like the plague, which seed breeder is that? So you've gotten out, you don't have to say. You can choose to take a hit from the pipe instead.
Trying to think if there really is, but yeah, I can take a pipe hit. No,
Hit the pipe.
no hate.
Hit the
It's
pipe.
all love.
It might help you think.
And then one.
We'll just call it the peace pipe. Just keep the peace, hit the pipe.
If you end up having to lose an arm or a leg, which would it be?
Oh, the arm.
An arm.
Yeah, I go for an arm.
One-handed joint
Hey,
rolling, gong lighting, pipe lighting. I got to think this through.
One-handed
Yeah,
transplants. One-handed
Yeah,
transplants. I mean, that's pretty rough.
You can sit in a
No,
wheelchair.
I've smoked weed
Yeah.
before after I've cut my hand.
Bionic leg. Hey, titanium.
If I can get bionic
I'll throw out
anything, it's all good.
I'll throw out a question just because, just on the topic of breeding. Is there any particular trait, and I don't mean necessarily even a physical expression, maybe even could be something so remote as a feeling from the weed or something, but is there something in particular that you really find yourself searching for in your breeding projects? Is it all about effect? Is it bag appeal? Is it some combination of the above? Like, I like ugly weed.
I really like weed that it's like paranoia and
Nice.
makes people feel a little bit uncomfortable.
That racy up weed.
Yeah, just like if I can give my weed to people and they feel like, oh man, what have you done? You know, like
Oh, the good old high school high.
yeah,
yes.
no, and I think
Oh
that's
my
what I'm
God,
always
what did I
That's
do?
that.
aiming
That's
for.
that
Oh
peak
no.
smoke. That's that peak smoke. That's why Pete got that Durban like that. See, y'all don't understand. That's that shit that when you smoke that, if you ain't a trained smoker, you can break out a sweat. Off top, you can start sweating like your heart going bad. You can be like, oh God, yeah.
Oh, that's my
He
favorite.
like that.
Yeah, I
Dear
love that.
weed.
Other people
You've
look like, oh,
Nice.
are you doing fine? And I'm like, oh, just give it 2 minutes, I'll be back on top. That's like the good stuff. When the sweat comes and everyone thinks you're dying on the couch. Yeah, so I guess that's
And
what
has there been one from the stable that really did that for you? One that stood out above, others? Is this where we're looking at the Malawis or something else?
yeah, I think like the one that did it like absolutely most for me was the sour diesel, I would say.
Really? Awesome.
But like all the stuff that I work with and like the triple OG, the crosses I made are all really heady. The triple OG was like that to like really mess you up.
Interesting. Quite the brain
That's the
scrambler.
triple OG from Exotic Genetics.
Whoever selected that sour diesel selected the greatest pheno that's the real sour diesel back cross. Like that one hits like the real sour diesel. Whatever you smoke hit like the real sour diesel for real. Yeah. A lot of people don't understand. Sour diesel will have you racy as hell.
Yeah, no, I was struggling with that. And I remember one time I had to pick up my car and my girlfriend like rolled the joint with that by accident. And just going there to pick up the car was like the worst nightmare ever. I was so destroyed. And then I leave the place and I'm like, oh man, I did it, And then the whole engine is loose and swinging back and forth as I'm driving. And I'm thinking, oh man, this weed is fucking me up completely. So I go to a garage when I get into town and I see the engine's loose. So at least it wasn't all that bad, but it was still
Kind of
really,
weed where everything's a mission. Yeah,
yeah,
nice.
like super mission. Like you just going to the supermarket, and you realize what the fuck am I here for, when you're in there. No, but I quite enjoy that.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. So yeah, as we draw to the end of it, it's the hour. We'll open up the after show bit for people in the audience can jump in and join us. And if you wish to ask Magma any seeds questions, any teeth back in. If you wish to ask Magma Seeds any questions directly, you're more than welcome to jump into. I'll put up the link now. Welcome to come and join us. And
I'm sorry I couldn't answer the chat on YouTube. I only had my phone, so I couldn't figure out how to do it.
No, that's all good. I'm sure that everybody can pile in and join us now in chat.
Yeah. I think we covered everything. And just like Pete was saying, you can find us all in question. If you have any other questions for Magma, please join us in the after show.
Yeah. So on that note, where can everybody find you, Raptor?
Hi everyone. I'm Raptor Grow, all one word, lowercase. If you want to find me, use exactly what it says right here. Same words, all lowercase. So yeah, just on Instagram, and you can find me here Saturdays, Operation Grow, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Brews with Buds, Fumador flavors. Also there Tuesdays, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So yeah, hope to see you all.
And Cascadian, where can we find you, sir?
You guys can find me here with Pete hanging out. You can find me with Fumi hanging out. I'm on Instagram at Cascading Grown, and I'm on Discord at Cascading Grown with some numbers on the end. But you can find me in the neighborhood, and you can find me in the Northwest 47 Discord channels on Discord.
Cool. Just one quick question that came through from Top Floor Genetics for Magma seeds. Are you selling seeds yet? And if so, where can people get hold of them?
That was going to be my closer.
Yeah, I only sell regular seeds, and people can contact me on the email on my Instagram, or send me a DM and we can talk.
And it's magmaseeds.com, isn't it? There's a contact form.
And there's a contact form on the website. I'm going to add more, but out of old habit, I haven't really been much of a photographer. So
Right.
I'm trying to
feeling.
improve on that.
Yeah, excellent. And GMF, where can we find you, sir?
Oh, hanging out here with you, man. I'm typically here hanging out on Operation Grow every Saturday. I try to make appearances over at Fumi's on occasion, but lately I've been trying to get back to a more, how shall I say, human-like sleep schedule, so not so vampiring as much, but that's about it. If I can be helpful to anyone, just holler at me on IG, Genetic Memory Farms. And I just want to say a special thank you to Magma for coming to hang out with us, man. And please give your puppies a snuggle for me. They are adorable.
Yeah, we can hear you, Magma. Can you hear us right there?
Thanks for having me on.
Excellent.
You hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear. All good.
Okay, good.
Brief moment there. So yeah, and to Cascadian Underground. So where can we find you?
Man, you can catch me at Underground Organics Farms on IG and here with Pete and the guys on Saturdays, 4 p.m. Eastern. Y'all have a great weekend. Thanks for coming through, chat.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. And
Nice talking with
Swooby.
you.
Find me on Instagram at SwoobyDoo and on Cannabis at the Growing Buds.
Excellent. And then just on one last one there, Magma, what is the one strain that you would recommend everybody goes out there and that's the Nirvana, the panacea strain, that's the one that everybody should be going and smoking. Which one is that, in your opinion?
From who? From me?
From you.